atmosphere, and it jumped it all the way up to 40 years ahead of time in 1983 in Montauk, New York, when you're talking about the Montauk Project. So with that experiment in itself, it basically manipulated the fragment of time, and it threw off the planet by 3 years, because from 1940 to 50 and 60 and so on and so forth, you had these fourth dimensional portals that opened up naturally on the planet. So now the fragment of time that has been manipulated. So it goes from 1943 to 53 all the way up into 2023 now. So that's why the Galactic Federation, they gave the plutocracy and the oligarchs, they gave them the technology to build CERN, because CERN was originally made to put the planet right back in balance. So, but they use it for devilishment when they open up these portals, so they can have archonic energy come to the planet to basically have some type of self-preservation in the three-dimensional paradigm, because they want the matrix system to keep going.
So let me ask you this, BDELL. If the Galactic Federation gave them the technology of CERN, we all know who this devil is that we deal with on a consistent basis in this realm. You mean to tell me they didn't know that they was going to get tricked by these folks, that the parasitic elite? They really thought the devil was going to use CERN for the better of humanity?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they pretty much, gave them a chance, but everybody, we have, free will to do,
I'm just joking. Because I'm like that. I'm like, oh, but wow, I heard, let me see something real quick, BDELL. I heard, didn't CERN just turn on the machine and something happened? Like, let me see if I see several. No, I thought I read an article that said CERN recently. Let me just give me 1 second. While I'm doing this, hold up, y'all. Okay, no. All right. Yeah, I was just checking. I want to make sure something, y'all. All right. So what now? This, I mean, just like the last time you got on here. When you get on the show, you take off running, brother, and you don't waste no time, and you get right to it. And I appreciate that. That makes it, information is good. You make information very interesting, and that's important for our people to be and not be boring to our people. Our people, we're in this era of being stimulated by everything. So I feel as though the way you present information makes people want to tune in and listen. They don't have to tune into the garbage. They could get stimulated by this amazing cosmic information that you present to the people. So I appreciate that, my brother. I want to talk about now, since you're talking about the Galactic Federation, and I want to talk about the Anunnaki, because you mentioned the Anunnaki on your channel, and somebody else said, I heard a couple of people say, yo, the Anunnaki's returning. Yo, the Anunnaki did this. I'm like, what the Anunnaki got to do with what's going on now? I got to talk to Billy Cost to see what's going on. So talk what's up with the Anunnaki, brother? What they got to do with this?
So the Anunnaki has a lot to do with everything right now. So that's why you're seeing many different UFOs in our atmosphere, right? So this is all, like, I did a video talking about the 7-year tribulation period, because 2023 is the inception point of when everything is supposed to be going through a transitional process, right? Because everything is acclimated to the sun cycle, and the sun cycle is connected to a matriarchal energy. So everything right now, as far as the UFOs, they're terraforming the atmosphere to give the planet right back to the seeds of Enki, who got the birthright stolen from the seeds of Enlil, who is connected to the black nobility. So I just did a video not too long ago talking about the delineation between the fezzes versus feathers. So that's all, basically the indigenous people of the planet versus the black nobility, the blackamoors, who basically stole our birthrights through theological, spiritual systems and things of that nature that's acclimated to the socio-political aspect of civics and things of that nature. So also, when you're talking about these UFOs, these fourth dimensional energies is coming in, that is creating the open vortex to where they can come in from the 19th galaxy, right? Because the inception point of where the Galactic Federation comes from, or the Anunnaki, these Riskians, they come from the 19th galaxy, the 8th planet. So what they're doing is, when you see like red iron oxide clouds in our atmosphere, that is basically a symbology of destruction and calamity, because the planet has to go through a cleansing process. So everything is being reconstructed to go back into its original state. So that's why, you know, a lot of people are not understanding this whole phenomenon about UFOs, because UFOs, they're able to dematerialize and go into fourth octave ether, because they work on an anti-gravity reactor, because it has its own gravitational field. So when you see these UFOs, they're basically terraforming the atmosphere that basically manipulates the magnetic field. The magnetic field depletes the ozone layer, and the ozone layer, that's when you have that fourth dimensional energy coming in. So everything right now that's taking place is based on the sun cycle, because everything that was galvanized by the matrix system, by the oligarchs, happened during the Piscean age under a Saturnian energy.
So the UFOs are basically causing what they call global warming. Is that what they said?
Yeah. This, because it's like I said, because it has the ability to manipulate the grid. So the grid is based on a magneto-hydrodynamic photon holographic reality. So the photons is what is created by subatomic particles that are cube shaped. So what it's doing is basically dematerializing the atmosphere to where you can have this heat come down and terraform everything on the planet. So that's where you get your whole concept of global warming. So because it's that fourth dimensional energy coming in.
BDELL, this shit sound like a sci-fi movie, man. This is some wild, interesting shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. This some wild, interesting information, and wow, it sounds like a sci-fi movie, my brother. So you said they what's up with you know, so much talk about Enki and Enlil from a lot of people in the YouTube community as of the last couple of years. What's up with them now? Where they at now? If the Galactic Federation wants to return the planet back to the seeds of Enki, where's Enki and where's Enlil at this present moment?
Well,
or is that a collective consciousness? I'm like, what is that exactly?
Well, the seeds of Enlil, well, the best way I can explain it, well, the seeds of Enlil, you can tell who they are. They put themselves in governmental systems. They control any form of monotheistic religion. They're inside organizations, the Boule Society, and things of that nature. So Enlil himself, he came down, I think it was like in the 1980s or whatever. There's a publication that's been put out talking about how he came down and he was worshipped inside this village and things of that nature. As far as Enki is not on the planet, because there's this god that they call him King Yahweh. But when you understand the etymology of the tetragrammaton, Yahweh means agreeable and disagreeable. Enki would never call himself Yahweh. That's a term for Enlil. So that's the difference between the two, because it means agreeable and disagreeable, half Anunnaki, half Draconian reptilian.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I asked this to a couple of my guests, and I like to hear different perspectives on it, because there's such a phenomenon happen with everybody. And I don't think I asked you this the first time. That I asked you about the ringing in the ears, because that's like happening at an all-time high right now.
You asked me that the last time.
What did you say? I forgot. What did you say, my brother?
What I said was, it's basically kind of like it's like a signal. It's like a phone. It's like a phone call trying to signal you in. So, and when you get a lot of ringing in the ears, the best thing to do is to meditate, to receive that energy. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you a lot of people don't reap the benefits of their prayers and things of that nature, is because when they pray, you put your affirmations and your blessings out into the ethers. You're supposed to meditate to receive the energy. That's the difference. So when you get these ringing in the ears, you're basically trying to channel in a message. You're supposed to be in a state of meditation to receive that fourth and fifth dimensional energy that's trying to, channel in with you.
When I was young, and I want to salute you. You a young brother bringing this information, so you're younger than me. But when I was young and television ruled the world, it wasn't the internet. They used to disrupt the television program, and they used to say, "This is a test from the Emergency Broadcasting Center," and then it would go, and that sounds like the shit in our ears. So, do you think that was a form of programming when they used to play that on television? Do you think that's a form of programming? Because it sounds like what a lot of people's hearing in the ear.
Yeah, because they know, especially when it comes to so-called black people, they know that the octave vibration in the frequency has a certain cymatic, and it's acclimated to the carbon, and carbon is a derivative of graphene, which is connected to melamine formaldehyde, so it's able to absorb all those frequencies to where this is how intelligent melanin or carbon is. It's able to become acclimated to anything, whether it's positive or negative. It's kind of like, you ever seen the movie Meteor Man?
Yes.
Remember when he was able to galvanize his metaphysical powers? When he touched that comet, anything that he touched, that became acclimated to his characteristics of who he was as a superhero, whether if it was positive or negative. He'd touch a book and he absorb all the information. So that's what the same thing does when it comes to these sound wave frequencies. It becomes acclimated to who we are, whether it's positive or negative. It can basically terraform the melanocytes in our molecular structure.
Indeed. So, you know how, I'm not going to, when 2020 hit and that thing broke out, and I'm not going to say the name because they were shutting everybody's channel down. But you know what I mean? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Another conversation that was happening simultaneously was the 5G conversation, and they was shutting people down for that as well. But and then a lot of conscious folks were saying how 5G was going to mess us up a lot. Now, is 5G, say we go to 6G, 7G, 8G, is that the same way with our melanin, where our melanin will adapt to wherever the technology goes, no matter how bad it is for us, our melanin will adapt and it will actually start to benefit us more than it will start to hurt us because of our melanin? And that example you gave with Meteor Man?
It depends on if you have any type of nanogenetic mind control that's inside, your neurological capacity. So what it's able to do is, when you have these 5G frequencies, when it's able to, when they intensify it, and you have these, when you have these basic, these metals inside your molecular structure, what it's able to do is, this is where you get this concept of zombification. So when you have, nanogenetic mind control stem or receivers inside your body from genetically modified foods, or whether you take in the Jabberwocky, I call it the draconian juice. So what it's able to do is, when you have these 5G frequencies, it becomes acclimated to those metals to where it can basically take over your avatar. So now at the same time, when you have these fourth dimensional energies coming in, when you have the UV radiation light spectrum speeds up in vibration and it activates the sun, what it does is it breaks down those metals inside your brain capacity and inside your molecular structure. So this, like I said, it coincides with zombification, because they know at the time of when the sun is at solar maximum around 2025, they know that we're going to have another form of pestilence again, when you're talking about the what.
Yeah.
So what happens is the nanotechnology that's connected to the 5G frequency, it dematerializes the two frontal lobes of the brain, and it puts a strain on the hypothalamus gland, which activates the frequency of hunger. So that's why they said that in 2025, the pole shift can activate cannibalism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow, man. So in terms of let's talk about in terms of sun, the amount of sun we're getting at this time. Do you think that's probably the most important thing we should be engaging in right now, is sun activity and getting as much sunlight as possible?
Yeah, most definitely, because the more sun you get, like I said, it causes a reconfiguration. Because I think in my last video, I was telling people how you got many different forms of intrinsic metals. So even if you bend a metal out of shape, when it's acclimated to intrinsic solar radiation or just heat in general, what it's able to do is able to reconstruct back into its original form. So the same thing happens to our molecular structure, because we have every element inside of our body. When you're talking about the periodic table, we have all these, monatomic gold, intrinsic metals. It's all inside of our molecular structure. So this is where you have the unraveling of the junk DNA. It's basically the same concept. So you're supposed to get as much heat as possible when you're out in the sun.
Indeed.
absorb all that solar radiation. Because the reason I say that also is also connected to the fact that, you know, everything right now is being manipulated in a form of biochemical warfare. So it's going to be to a point where you're going to have to perform ultra fast internal conversion to where you're going to have to transmute yourself by being a breatharian. I don't know if everybody's ready for that whole concept yet, but it's going to get there one day to where you're not going to be able to eat or drink anything because everything is basically going to be compromised for biochemical warfare. Because I told you the wars with the mind, because we entering the mental plane, the ethel plane, the fourth dimension.
Now, you mentioned the Galactic Federation, and people hear that term, but I want you to let us know, who does that comprise of? It sounds like an amazing name, but who exactly? We hear the Anunnaki, but the Galactic Federation sounds like a group. So who is this group running around making all these decisions, terraforming the skies and this and that? Who are these people?
Well, you have Riskians, and then you also have some of the Yagigi. You got the Dogons that was constructed when you're talking about the Dogon tribe of Mali, who taught them how to map out the stars way before NASA was created. You also have Andromedans. You got some good ones of those. You have Anunnaki, and then you have you got some Nubarians. Then you also have some Xylanthians. You got many different it's an amalgamation of, you know, many different extraterrestrial groups that basically work with the Galactic Federation. But the inception point of it all is galvanized by the Riskians. You also got Lyrans. The Lyrans are the cat people, so that's why you got the Sphinx in Egypt, which is also in alignment with the Leo star constellation as well. So
the Sphinx is from the Lyrians?
Yeah, yeah.
So why did they put that here? Why did they put that there, the Sphinx?
Well, because they know that, you know what I'm saying, like the cats are able, they're able to look inside two different dimensional realities at the same time. They can be in the three-dimensional state in the physical, but they're able to be in the fourth dimension as well, just based upon the construction of the frequency of their eyes. Because they have the same eye construction as a reptile. So like I said, you have as far as on the disagreeable side, you have Draconians. Then when I'm talking about the Majestic 12, you got Draconians. Then you have Pleiadians, and then you have Greys, and then you got Draconian Greys. So you got many different species of extraterrestrial races right now that's fighting over the planet. And then you got extraterrestrials inside. When you're talking about the Dayros, who are detrimental robotoids, then you got Teros. And then you also have the Shiyuk and the Danakil tribe who live inside the planet. That's where Yaqub comes from when you're talking about Jacob of the Bible.
So how do this group that went, wow, that was okay. You gonna make people do a lot of research tonight, BDELL, for real. You're gonna have me looking up Lyrians and this and that.
Michael Jackson been putting it in our faces for a long time. Because a lot of the Galactic Federation, they got two different forms. They can basically dematerialize and shapeshift into a cat. I think it was Remember the Time. Michael Jackson did that. Because a lot of the Egyptian pharaohs during that time, there's a lot of anomalies and stuff.
So they use cats to spy on this dimension. You know how like we send robots to Mars and all this rovers and shit like that. That's what they use cats for. Like the cat is down here and they're looking through the cat. Like, okay, is that what they're doing? Because that's just what
it's a possibility. Because
like whoa.
Because they're able to live on two different dimensional planes based upon the construction of the eyeball.
Wow. You mess with cats? You got a cat, brother?
No, I don't have any cats.
Okay. Wow, man. Yeah, cats are like spies. Yeah, they like spies for extra dimension. Wow. Like I said, we gonna be doing a lot of research after this, y'all. So what races are these people, the Riskians and this one and the Greys? Are they brothers and sisters? Are there some that are like I see some that are like blonde hair, blue eyes? You see these gray beings. Is that all fantasy, or are these like brothers and sisters up there when you talk about all these different groups?
Well, the vast majority of them are melanated. But you also got many different groups that, you know, that stem from them, because when you understand microbiology and genealogy, you get the recessive from the dominant. You don't get the dominant from the recessive. So all these extraterrestrial races are a derivative of the carbonated, melanated Anunnaki beings. So like I said, you got some, matter of fact, there's a video on my page. It was a guy who died and he went into the ethers and he was shown these beings. He said the great majority of them are black people, and they were the ones in control of the ones. It's kind of like when you look at the hieroglyphics in Samaria, or you look at the hieroglyphics in Egypt, when you had the cat head people, then you got the bird head people. He was saying that there's a lot of them that have the same configuration, and they got the humanoid animals, but they're all being galvanized by a certain group of black extraterrestrials.
You know, I heard I was on Instagram, and on one of some Instagram posts was saying that the 90s movie about the cone heads. Remember the cone heads? They said that's actually based on a extraterrestrial group. Have you ever heard anything about that? The cone heads?
Yeah, they call the Sini tribe.
Sini?
The Sini tribe. You got the Sini tribe that lives inside the planet, and they're basically the police force of the Dayros, because the Dayros was grafted out of the Tayros. The Sini and the Tayro are basically the same thing. They just got two different nomenclature titles. So the Tayro are actually the conehead beings, and that's Yaqub's mother, Jacob of the Bible. His mother become an adept. And when you become an adept, that puts you in alignment to where you become a master. So with you being at the door, that means that you have speculation to where you can tap into the energy of self-realization. So when you have self-realization, you do your shadow work, that puts you in alignment to where you can start to seek knowledge. So just because you don't feel like some people don't even think they're a light worker or a chosen one because they don't have a platform, they don't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? Your purpose might just be subjected to fixing your family, fixing your bloodline, or just edifying the people around you. You know what I'm saying? Because the concept of a chosen one, people just think like, I was chosen to play basketball, I was chosen to be a rapper, I was chosen to sing, and I was these are all man-made purposes. Because at the end of the day, if this world shuts down, the energy grid shuts down, the people who are the truth tellers, you know what I'm saying, the people who spread the information, the people who's trying to bring a dietary system, people teaching agriculture, those are your real chosen ones, because they're actually bringing a certain natural vibration to the planet. So for you to say that you want to start as a light worker, you are a light worker because you already at the path of Nasut. You're already at the door. So you looking at yourself from an internal level, you know what I'm saying, where you can tap into self-realization. So you don't have to, think that you're not, because you don't have a platform and not famous and stuff like that. That's all BS. That's all, humanoid concepts that's created by mankind.
No, indeed. What would be a metaphysical definition of passion? Because one thing I see a lot in the videos that talks about light workers, and the light workers have to figure out what their passion is, and they have to live or fulfill their passion. So what would you say is like a metaphysical way to describe a passion, your passion?
Your passion. Okay. That was a great question. I ain't gonna lie.
Thank you.
Your passion is one of those things where when you tap into a certain energy, and that energy in itself is a tachyon energy, meaning that it connects you to the universe. When you tapped into passion, that puts you in a state of where you can manipulate timelines. Because when you manipulate timelines, you collapse time by mastering time. Because when your passion and your heart and your energy and vibration is into something, that's when you go through interstellar vortex portals, because you lost time. You lost time doing something that you actually love doing. When you know what I'm saying, when I love basketball, I play college basketball, and I used to be, man, I'm out here hooping. Let's get it. I didn't care about what time it was. You know what I'm saying? Right. It started at 12, and all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock. Because it's lapse time when you tapped into your purpose.
No, indeed. That's real. That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. It's like It's like your passion is like a multi-dimensional talent, man. It goes beyond this realm, man. It's some real shit, man. Oh man, let me get to I seen somebody ask something that I want to ask, because I know y'all got a lot of questions. We got an hour. I don't want to fill up the whole time by myself. Somebody asked, I don't see it now, but they said they were mixed race. Do they have a soul? They want to know, do they have a soul because they were mixed race? I don't see the question though, but somebody asked that.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I don't really get into you come from this I don't do bloodline, blood types and stuff like that. But right. I agree that, you know what I'm saying, you can still be chosen or have a soul and be a light worker. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. You're a mixed person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Indeed. Why do you think, BDELL, why do you think give me a second. Why do you think it appears so many spiritual people, light workers, focus more on helping other people instead of perfecting or being the best version of themselves? Seems like helping somebody else comes way before being the best version of themselves. Why is it that way, my brother?
It's kind of like it's an energy transfer. A lot of us, we get activation, like, you know, with you following your purpose, like that gives you a certain energy. Like with me helping somebody, you know what I'm saying, whether they asking for money or if they asking for information or whatever, I'm glad I'm able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So where, you know, it gives me energy knowing I can help somebody else. But, you know, sometimes that can subjugate you too, because you got some people who are energy vampires because they don't have a purpose, so they want to clean themselves to your energy. So it's kind of like the same concept as a car that has a dead battery, but they need you for the charge because they know that you have the power up. They know that you have the glow. They know that you have the God frequency to revitalize whatever they got going on. So whenever you revitalize those people, a lot of times they stray away, and then when things go wrong, they come right back to where they need to charge up again. So you know what I'm saying? So that's how you know you're chosen, because you become a magnet of everything around you. You become a magnet to those who need healing. You become a magnet to those who need edification. You become a magnet for those who are seeking truth.
Indeed. Yeah, definitely. So we talked earlier, BDELL, about having a bright light. You know, chosen ones, your light is bright, you shine, and the aura is bright, and you know, you may entities may want to attack you for that, or you may experience high levels of energy vampires because of your light, and people feel your aura. My question to you: so there's this idea that light workers or star seeds or chosen ones need to protect themselves more than the average person because of this. My question to you is, do the light workers need more protection, or do they need more confidence in who they are? Because it appears that protection means that there's a bit of fear in you that you're going to be attacked, but confidence in a way represents a frequency of I'm already protected. I don't need protection because I'm already protected. So do you think it's one more than the other? What do you think about confidence versus protection in terms of being a light worker?
I think when you step into that role and you're confident enough, that's when you get the protectorate from the universe and the Most High. Because they had, you know, that energy in itself, when you tapped into your purpose, it has to be a protectorate because you came here, you was incarnated to bring a certain polarity. But now, you know, if you was like, man, I ain't got the confidence, I ain't doing that, man. That sounds silly. I ain't putting myself on camera talking about, people gonna think I'm crazy. Now you basically, you know what I'm saying, you deviated, you know what I'm saying, for having that protectorate, because now you just, you know, on autopilot, just like, you know, the great majority of the NPCs, you just subjected to that certain way of thinking. You just going along to get along instead of tapping into your purpose. So I agree. Like once you tap into your purpose and you have the confidence to do so, I think that's when you get the protectorate from the Most High in the universe, because you got to cherish that person, because it's like, you know what I'm saying, you become a commodity to, you know, to fix certain things on this planet.
No, indeed. Wow. Let's I saved okay, question somebody want to know, BDELL, when Ghostwriter wants to know, when does the soul enter the fetus? I've heard different things about this. So
due to my independent research, I think it said that the soul it takes like 19 days. 19 days before the soul is able to enter the body or enter a fetus or a baby. So 19 is a very prevalent number. It's an esoteric number because you got, when you go to the Holy Quran, 19, Ilihun is in the Holy Quran 19 times. And 19 is basically the fifth dimension, which is the 19th galaxy of Sirius or Planet Risk or whatever you want to call it. It's different names, different titles or whatever. But it's 19 days.
Do light workers, you know how certain places on Earth is known for producing certain metals. So Africa is known for producing gold and things of that nature. America is known for producing certain things. Asia, you get certain crops, metals, things, depending on which places you go. Do light workers come from a particular place in the universe? Like the universe knows, okay, the light workers is coming from over there. That's where all the light workers come from. Is that how it works, BDELL?
I agree, man. I'm glad you brought that up because I think the archons who control this fixed position reality, they control everything because they know that our gematria body is connected to this grid system. So they place a lot of us on certain areas of the planet, on certain geographical landmasses. So this is why you can be like, man, why am I the only one in my city that think like this? Like, why am I the only one in my state that think like this? That's because, like I said, it was strategically put that way. It was done like that on purpose because they know that when you are able to galvanize a whole demographic of people and they're thinking on the same frequency, you can reverse the polarity of all this in one day. So they got to keep everybody scattered around.
Right.
But through chaos and afflictions, a lot of us is going to end up coming together. You know what I'm saying? They already know that.
What why do you think when we hear about light workers, when we hear the word light workers and we think about some of the melanated light workers throughout history, and we'll even say Jesus, say Martin Luther King, let's say Malcolm X, and the list goes on. We could talk about Elijah Muhammad. A lot of people, violence is often associated with them. So a lot of people will wonder, well, if they're light work and they have all this light, how can you kill something that's so powerful? Why would something so powerful be so easily be able to be killed so easily? What's your thoughts on the history of light workers and them ending in their life ending in a violent way, BDELL?
It's a form of sacrificing yourself. You came to this planet, you was incarnated, and you completed the mission. But the mission in itself comes with many different negative aspects, unfortunately. So if you come back to this planet, you speaking against the government and you creating an autonomous civilization that's, where you trying to keep the government out, you know what I'm saying? This is where they can lock you up like Dr. Malakazi York, and they can kill you like, they can poison you like they did Noble Ali. They can do many different things, but at the end of the day, you completed your soul contract. You did what you came to this planet to do. So that doesn't, just because something bad happened to those people or whatever, doesn't mean that they're not like chosen ones or whatever. Because they already completed the mission, because they were basically the predecessors of everything that's taking place right now. When you're talking about people bringing this knowledge all over social media and stuff like that, that's where it all started. So we're actually a branch of who they are.
Now, so because you said that, my next question would be, a lot of people think if your life doesn't end similar to these light workers in a violent way, or you go to jail or you get locked up, that means you are not a light worker. So people often wait. If he's real, if BDELL is real, he gonna get locked up. If he's real, he gonna get killed. And if it don't happen, BDELL, you wasn't real because the government didn't come after you.
Right.
So talk to me about the light workers who don't get touched by the government and people thinking they're not real because they didn't get touched by the government.
it's some people I really think they can't. This is just my opinion.
Yes.
It's some people I really don't think that they can't do nothing to. They can't do nothing. I don't think they can do nothing to nobody like Dr. Phil Valentine. They can't do nothing to nobody like Rod Hayes. It's kind of like, because they know that the 24,000 year purification period, this is the last reincarnation cycle. So it's certain things that they cannot do right now. So it's a lot of stuff, because it's a lot of stuff they was able to manipulate timelines. They you know what I'm saying, they will open up warm portals or whatever to prolong this this Piscean energy that's subjugated humanity under theocracy and imperialism. Some of the stuff like that they did back then, they can't do that no more, because we enter in a golden age.
Right.
But you got some people, you know, if they actually did something, and they did put themselves in a position to where they can get killed or end up going to jail, you know what I'm saying? You got to take that on the chin, you know. But it's just some people, you know, that they just really can't touch like that. You know, that's just my opinion.
Indeed. Yeah. This is a good one, y'all. How old, in terms of planet Earth, BDELL, how old would you say planet Earth is in comparison to, you know, the universe and the other planets? Is Earth one of the younger, or is Earth an old planet? Because there's so much attention, it appears, from so many entities all over on with us here on Earth.
Earth is actually, I think it's an old planet. Project Blue Rock is when you had the Anunnaki or the Netzeru. They came to this planet for experimentation purposes. So this planet was really like a vacation spot and a hub for resources. So according to the publications of Dr. Malachi Z. York, the planet is 76 trillion years old, which is basically an anagram flip for the planet was created in 7 days, and the 6th day he rested, according to when you're talking about the book of Genesis and things of that nature. So that is symbolic to a trillion years, according to Dr. Malachi Z. York's publications. So I actually, you know, believe that.
Indeed.
The reason I believe that, though, is because time here is different in the higher dimensions, because when light breaks into a dimension, it reverses the polarity of time. So one day on planet Earth, it might be a trillion years in the 19th galaxy.
And that's just one day down here.
Yep.
Wow. All right, let's get to it. Let me get a couple of questions from y'all. I had to get some questions out, but I seen y'all in the chat. Give me some questions from my brother BDELL. I know this is a powerful one right here, y'all. I know y'all happy with this one. Give me some questions from the chat from my brother BDELL. In the meantime, while you get those questions, check out the website, y'all. blackmagic.university.com. I got the Blueprint for God Power 2 up there, as well as other workshops as well. Another thing, Rod Hayes will be on my Patreon tomorrow. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Middle East, you know, stuff that we're not going to say on YouTube. We're going to be a little more free to say it on there tomorrow, so y'all can look out for that. It should be up there by tomorrow night. Stay tuned for that. And one more announcement. Tomorrow, I will have Aquarius Maximus will be live on YouTube with me tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So stay tuned for that. Also, let's get some Q&A from y'all. Very interesting show. I know y'all got some good questions for the brother. Okay, let's ask this. We about to end the year out. BDELL, they want to know what's your 2024 predictions, my brother.
Well, you're gonna have a second wave of Pluto in Aquarius. And it's Pluto's gonna be in Aquarius all the way up until the year 2049. So there's a lot of things that can be taking place, because that's basically a representation of regeneration and revitalization. And I told you, I don't think I told you on the show, but on April 8th, 2024, you're gonna have a solar eclipse, and that solar eclipse goes through seven cities called Salem, which is basically the suffix of the word Jerusalem. So America's actually the real Holy Land, opposed to what they're saying over in the land of Canaan. Let's just say it like that.
Indeed. This is a good one here. I know a lot of light workers. They're worried about how to maintain wealth. This brother wants to know what is the best approach towards maintaining wealth and being a light worker.
What is it? Okay. The best way, everything's all about discipline. If you don't have no discipline, you don't have anything. But the discipline in itself is operating at 0 point energy, to where you follow the path of the middle way. So when you follow the path of the middle way, that means that you're not subjected to external stimulation around you. You don't feel like you have to go buy this or you have to buy that, because you know that everything's internal. So that puts you in alignment to where you're basically reaping the benefits of mastery. You master everything in your lower nature that superseding your nature.
Next question. How does karma deal with light workers?
Karma is one of those things where, like, when you're a light worker, like I said, you already subjected to a certain mission on this planet. So if you do something, you know, you already know better. You know what I'm saying? So that means that the karma is going to come back 10 times harder. So it's kind of like a person who, you know, a light worker. We all know, we understand that the dietary system of the westernized world, you shouldn't be eating pork or nothing like that. So if you out here eating, you know, pork steaks or whatever, you might, you know, reap the negative benefits on the back end because of that. You might, you know, get, you know, heart attack, arteries clogged up and things of that nature. So there's karma when you're dealing with certain things, when you already know certain things is actually bad for you.
Indeed. I like this sister right here, Gwendolyn, said passion is your soul. Woo! Yeah, I hear you. Passion is your soul. I hear that, Queen. All right. It was, let me see. We got a lot of questions in here. There was one. Give me a second. All right, let me just ask this. Could you explain how we are traveling through different galaxies, BDELL?
The best way I can explain it is how we're traveling through, but it's kind of a dead end question, because I have my, you know, speculation when it comes to you know, space in itself. You know, I don't know if we're living on a flat plane. I don't know if we're living on a globe, an actual, you know, circular globe. I don't know if we're in a cube, you know, type of planet. It's one of those things where it's kind of it's all speculation. So I can't really, you know, give a genuine perspective on that question, because you know, we might be stationary.
Indeed. Anunnaki God 979 wants to know. That's his name, Anunnaki God 979 Sirius X. Wow, what a day, brother, what a day. Well, this individual wants to know, do light workers see mirror numbers?
Well, elaborate on mirror numbers as far as like 7 like 101.
I'm assuming that's what he means, like angel numbers. Elaborate on that. And I guess we'll come back to that question. Let's get to the next one. Kiori wants to know, can you be chosen to be a left-hand path magician?
Most definitely. It depends on what type of magic are you using it for, you know, to revitalize, you know, and help people, or are you using it for something, you know, it just, you know, matters what your energy, what type of energy that you got behind, whether it's positive or negative. But you can still be chosen and have left-hand path be a left-hand path magician.
Goddess Scorpion wants to know, can you have more than one purpose, BDELL?
I'm gonna tell you, the reason I'm gonna tell you no is because the Western world, the three-dimensional world that we live in, a lot of people don't even tap into their purpose because they gave us the illusion of choices. So, like I said, some people, like, you know, they might be so fixated, like, my purpose is to be a cook, or my purpose is to do that. Maybe your purpose was to just be a healer and that's it, to where you can master that. That's why you hear the term a jack of all trades and a master of none. They might know how to do everything, but they haven't mastered nothing. So you really have just one purpose. So until you master that purpose, that's when you can probably graduate into something else.
Next question, BDELL. Can a child not born to you be your cosmic child?
Yes, I agree. Because everything is, like I said, you have a lot of us have, just based on bloodlines or whatever, just because, you might have died in this lifetime, but you might not even, be connected to a certain bloodline. You might just, come back and be a stranger to that person, but that person might still be your cosmic child or whatever. Because like I said, this three-dimensional illusion that we live in is all an illusion.
I think this is similar to another question we had. Destiny wants to know, if you feel you are a light worker or healer and you don't know where to start, what would you recommend, BDELL?
I start with doing shadow work, because I tell people all the time, you shouldn't tap into, try to tap into metaphysics. You got to go through a process of self-realization. You got to deal with, certain things that's haunting your bloodline, certain things that's, certain skeletons in the closet that you try to clean out or whatever. You got to deal with that before you tap into that energy, because when you get subjected to information, it can sometimes be detrimental to you. So deal, when you're on the path of a light worker, go through that path of self-realization and do your shadow work, and then tap into the energy to where you're able to seek knowledge.
I got a question for you, BDELL. So, because of that question she asked, this is something I had on my mind years ago, and I get these questions and I forget them, and then they may pop back up years later. When we because we're trying to figure out, what are we passionate about? Like, how do we know? What we do know in this realm is that, say I like a sister, right, BDELL, and I'm attracted to her. I know